Good day, grade 8. We are now back with another video for lesson 6, which is measures of central tendency for group data. So last week, nag-discuss tayo how to get the measures of central tendency for ungroup data. Ngayong linggo naman, we will discuss how to determine the mean, median, and mode for the group data. So for this week, our goal, or you are expected to calculate the measures of central tendency of group data. So without further ado, let's proceed with our lesson. So as I have mentioned a while ago, we will discuss the measures of central tendency for our group data. Okay, so we have the mean, the median, and the mode for our group data. Last week, diniscuss natin kung paano ba kuhanin ang measures of central tendency for group data. So ngayon naman, paano na kapag siya ay arrange na sa isang specific na class, paano natin nahanapin ang measures of central tendency. So let's start with mean. For mean, there are two ways in which to compute for the mean. So for the mean for group data can be obtained using midpoint method or the unit deviation method. So dalawang proseso to na pwede natin gamitin, and then either of the two ay pwede natin gamitin in obtaining the mean for the group data. Magkaiba lang yung process nila, but they will always come up with the same answer. So let's start with midpoint method. For the midpoint method, by using the midpoint method, mean for group data will be obtained through the formula x bar equals the summation of f times x all over n, wherein f is the frequency, x is the class mark, and n is the total number of frequency. So para mas mabilis natin siyang maintindihan, let us apply it in an example. Example 1.1, let us consider the frequency distribution table below. So we have a table here wherein meron tayong 7 na class intervals and then given din dyan ang frequency. Now, we have to obtain the class mark and then fx. Kasi for us to get the mean, kailangan nating hanapin ang value ng class mark and the value of, or the summation of frequency multiplied by class mark. Okay? So, for us to get the class mark, sana hindi pa nakakalimutan kung paano kinukuha ang class mark. We have discussed that noong lesson 4. We have to add the upper and the lower limit of each class and divide it by 2. So, parang kinukuha lang natin yung average nila. Okay, so 55 plus 59 divided by 2. So, simply that is 57. Okay? And then 60 plus 64 divided by 2, that's 62. And then next, we have 67, then that's 72, then 77, 82, and 87. Okay? So that is the class marks of each class interval. And then, next, we have to multiply f by x. So, 8 times 57, that's 456. And then, we have 11 times 62, that is 682. Then, let's go on with the same process, and then what's 1224, and we have 462. I hope that you are also doing it sa inyong module. Then 328, and then we have 144. Okay, so bakit ba natin kailangan ipag-multiply ang frequency and class mark? Kasi kagaya nga ng formula natin for mean using the midpoint method, kailangan natin kuhanin ang pinaka-summation. Okay, so ito yung summation symbol, pinaka-summation ng product ng frequency and class mark. So, kapag inad natin ang 456, 682, 804, 1224, 462, 328, and 144, magkakaroon tayo ng sum na 4,130. Wherein, itong 4,130 na ito ay gagamitin natin in obtaining our mean using the midpoint method. Okay? So, gamit lang ako ng ibang color ng pen. Okay. So, let us proceed in solving our mean. So, x bar, ito yung symbol for mean natin, x bar. Okay, so we have the summation of fx all over n. Okay, so let's substitute the values. Okay, so the summation of fx ay yung 4,130 all over the value of n, which is 60 sa total number of frequency. Okay, and then let's use our calculator. Okay, so approximately, this is equal to 68.83. Okay, so I hope na nakuha nyo rin ang same answer or we have come up with the same answer. So, as simple as that, pwede natin kuhanin ang midpoint method. So, you can answer the example given sa ating module, pero i-check natin siya during our synchronous meeting. Next, we have the unit deviation method. So, again, nandito pa rin tayo sa mean. Ito ay panibagong method lang in solving the mean. Pero, kagaya ng sinabi ko kanina, we will still come up with the same answer if ang ginamit natin ay midpoint method. I'll just show you kung paano gamitin itong unit deviation method. So, by using this method, mean for group data will be obtained through the formula. So, x bar is equal to x sub o plus the quantity of the summation of fd all over n multiplied by I, wherein x sub o is the assumed mean, I is the class width, and fd is the product of the frequency and its assigned deviation value. So, dito, ang kaibahan nito, meron tayong deviation value na kailangan gamitin. So, let us apply this in an example. Okay, so next, we have the unit deviation method in an example. We have used the similar example from the midpoint method. Okay, so for this unit deviation method, the first step is to determine the class mark. Since kinuha na natin ang class mark kanina, so inilagay na lang natin siya dyan. Okay, parehas lang naman ang class mark yan. Proceed tayo sa second step, which is to find the deviation values for each interval. So, yung deviation values, ay gagamitin natin dito lang sa unit deviation method. At kailan ba siya or saan ba siya nilalagay? Okay, sa deviation or unit deviation method, mag-a-assume tayo ng isang interval kung saan sa tingin natin dun papatak yung mean. Okay, saan makikita yung pinaka-average, aling interval. So, for me, nagaya na sa module, inassume ko na sa patatlong interval papatak yung mean natin. Kasi since ang total natin is 60, now yung kalahati ng 60 is 30. Okay? So, rough estimation lamang, more likely, dun sa pa-30th na value, natin makukuha yung ating average, yung pinakamalapit. And kapag pinag-add natin ng 8, 11, at 12, so magiging 31 yan, which is pinakamalapit dun sa 30. That's why I assumed na yung patatlong interval, nandun yung ating mean. So, dito ko naman ilalagay yung 0 niya. Okay? And then, since nandito yung 0, para lang tong number line. Ano yung before ng 0? So, that is negative 1 and then negative 2. Ano yung after ng 0? That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So, nakapag-place na ako ng deviation values ko. Next, I have to obtain the product of f and d. So, let us multiply 8 times negative 2, that's negative 16. 11 times negative 11, negative 11. 12 times 0, that's 0. 17 times 1, 17. 6 times 2, 12. 4 times 3, 12. And 2 times 4, that's 8. And then, after that, kapag nakuha na natin ang FD ng bawat interval, let us find the summation of the FDs. Okay? So, bakit natin siya kukuhanin? Kailangan siya sa formula ng unit deviation method. So, pag pinag-add natin ito lahat, we'll get 22. Okay? So, we have obtained the required values in solving mean using the unit deviation method. I-solve na natin siya. So, we have x bar is equal to x sub 0 plus the values of the summation of fd all over n multiplied by I. Okay? So, let us substitute the values. X sub o, or x sub 0 rather, ito yung class mark ng inassume natin na interval kung saan papatak yung ating mean. So, simply, ito yon 67. Okay? Kasi ito yung inassume natin eh. Yun yung class mark niya. So, we have 67 plus the summation of FD, 22, all over n, which is 60. And then, multiplied by I. So, the value of I, or the class width, that is 5. So, simply, x bar is equal to, let us solve for this, 67 plus, okay, so we have 22 over 60 times 5. Simply, that will become 11 over 6. And then, simply, type natin sa calculator. So, we have 68.83. Now, kung babalikan natin yung value natin for the midpoint method, we have come up with the same answer. Since sabi ko nga sa inyo, either of the two ay pwede natin gamitin at parehas lamang yung magiging sagot natin. Okay? Now, let's proceed with the next measure of central tendency, which is the median. Okay, for the median for group data, to obtain the median for group data, let us use the formula X or median is equal to L sub MD plus W multiplied by the quantity of N over 2 minus the less than cumulative frequency sub MD minus 1 all over F sub MD, wherein L sub MD is the lower class boundary of the median class. The less than cumulative frequency sub MD minus 1 is the less than cumulative frequency before the median class. F sub MD is the frequency of the median class, N is the total number of observations, and W is the class width. Okay? So, para mas mabilis natin siya maintindihan, let us apply it sa isang example. Let us consider the frequency table below. Okay? Kung mapapansin nyo, ito rin yung example na ginamit natin kanina. It's just that we have provided a lower class boundary column kasi kailangan natin siya for our formula. So, in obtaining the median for a group data, kailangan lagi nyong ilalagay yung lower class boundaries natin for each class interval. Okay? So, let's proceed in solving for the median of this specific frequency table below. Okay. Now, ang kailangan nating hanapin ngayon, since given na si frequency at si lower class boundary, we have to find the less than cumulative frequency of each interval. So, natutunan na naman natin kung paano natin siya gawin. Okay? Apply lang ulit natin yung natutunan natin from lesson 4. So, let's start with 8. And then 8 plus 11, we have 19. 19 plus 12, we have 31. 31 plus 7, we have 48. 48 plus 6, we have 54. 54 plus 8, we have 58. 54 plus 4 rather equals 58. And then 58 plus 2, that is 60. Okay, so meron na tayong less than cumulative frequency. Now, since meron tayong less than cumulative frequency, let us proceed with the next step. Okay, so for this example, meron na tayong less than cumulative frequency. The next step is to find the median class. So kung mapapansin ninyo doon sa ating formula, kailangan alam natin kung ano yung median class. And for us to obtain the median class, kailangan muna nating hanapin ang value ng ating N over 2. Okay, so para ang N over 2 natin, yun yung locator ng ating median class. Okay, so the N over 2 should be obtained. Since N is 60, and then we divide by 2, then N over 2 is equal to 30. Now, yung 30 na yon ang gagamitin natin in obtaining the median class. Okay, so for us to find the median class, punta kayo sa less than cumulative frequency. And then, from the first entry, hanapin ninyo kung alin yung value which is greater than or equal to 30, yung pinakamalapit. Okay? So first, ang less than cumulative frequency entry natin is 8. And 8 is less than 30, so hindi siya pwede. 19 also is less than 30, so hindi rin siya. Punta tayo sa patatlo. Dito, that is 31. So, we have obtained a value that is greater than 30. Bakit hindi 48? Hanapin ninyo kung alin yung unang entry at yung pinakamalapit. Okay? Pinakamalapit at mas malaki kay 30. So, that is 31. So, we have obtained our median class, which is yung ating third interval. Okay? Now, balikan natin yung formula na meron tayo for median. And let us use this median class for us to obtain our median. Okay? Solve lang tayo dito. Let me use another color of pen. Okay, so for us to obtain median, okay, we have L sub MD. So that is the lower class boundary of the median class. So ito yon, okay? Lower class boundary, we have 64.5. And then plus W is the class width. So the class width is 5. And then multiplied by the value of N over 2, we have 30 minus the less than cumulative frequency before the median class. Okay, so ito yung less than CF. Ito yung less than CF natin. And then since ito ang median class, before daw nito. So simply, ito yon, 19. Okay? And then all over F sub MD, which is the frequency of the median class. Okay, so that's 12. Okay, and then let us proceed with simplifying this. So, simply, that's 64.5 plus 5 multiplied by 30 minus 19. That's 11 over 12. Then, simply, when we type in the calculator, meron na tayong makukuhang value. So, we have 69.08. Okay? So, that is our median. For the last one, we have mode. Okay, so sa mode, madali lang din to. Kailangan lang hanapin ang model class. So to obtain the mode for group data, let us use the formula caret or x caret equals L sub MO, wherein that is the lower class boundary of the model class, plus W, wherein that is the class width, multiplied by the quantity of D sub 1. That is the difference between the frequency of the model class and the class above it, all over D sub 1 plus D sub 2, wherein D sub 2 is the difference between the frequency of the model class and the class just below it. Okay? So, para mas maintindihan natin siya, let us use this sa isang specific example. Okay. So, for this, naka-flash na dyan kung ano yung ating formula na gagamitin para mas mabilis nating matandaan yung mga kailangan na values. But first, kagaya nito, kagaya na nasabi ko kanina, we have to obtain the modal class. So, for us to obtain the modal class, again, sabi natin, mode, ito yung may pinakamataas na frequency. Okay? So, hanapin nyo lang alin yung pinakamataas na frequency. And by this, kita naman natin, na 17 ang pinakamataas na frequency. So, therefore, yung interval, kung nasaan yung 17, that is the modal class. Okay? And then, since na-obtain na ang modal class, pwede na tayong mag-solve ng ating mode. Okay? So, x caret is, so let's follow the formula. X caret is equal to L sub MO, which is the lower class boundary of the modal class. So, that's 69.5. Okay, plus W, that is 5, multiplied by. So, D sub 1. Ang D sub 1 natin ay makukuha daw in getting the difference between the frequency of the modal class. So, hanapin natin. D sub 1 is equal to 17. Okay? And the frequency of the class above it, that's 12. So, minus 12. So, simply, D sub 1 is 5. How about D sub 2? Kasi hanapin din natin yung D sub 2. So, difference naman daw ng frequency ng modal class and the class after it. So, that's 6. So, simply, D sub 2 is equivalent to 11. Okay? And then, let's proceed. Okay, so D sub 1, that is 5 all over 5 plus 11. Okay. And then, let's simplify. That's 69.5 plus 25 all over 16. Okay? And then, simply, our mode is 71.06. So, as simple as that, makukuha na natin ang mode for our group data. So, before I end this, I just want to summarize the distinct characteristics of each measure of central tendency. So, let us start with reliability. For the mean, it considers each and every value of the distribution, di ba? Kaya nga sinabi natin that mean is the most reliable measure of central tendency. Bakit hindi si median? Bakit hindi si mode? Kasi si median, ang kino-consider niya lang, it considers only the middle value from the distribution. Kasi middle most lang naman siya. Ang mode naman, it only considers the most frequent value from the distribution. That's why the most reliable is the mean. Next. Paano sila na-aapektuhan ng outliers or extreme values? Okay, so for the mean, it is highly influenced by the extreme values in a distribution. Therefore, its estimation can be misleading. Diba? Kagaya nga na na-discuss natin or na-explain natin last lesson, hindi advisable gamitin si mean kapag mayroong mga extreme values. So, alin ang pinaka-okay na gamitin kapag may extreme values? That is the median. Kasi that is not affected by the extreme values or outliers. Same is true with the mode. It's not influenced by extreme values. Yun nga lang, mas reliable si median kaysa kay mode pagdating sa extreme values. Next, mean always exists. Okay? Always remember that. Laging may mean sa lahat ng distribution. Ganon din naman ang median. lagi ding may middlemost value sa isang distribution. However, kapag dating kay mode, hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon merong mode ang isang distribution, right? Pwedeng there is no mode, okay? Ito ay mga pagkakataon kung saan iisang beses or pare-parehas lamang ang bilang ng beses na nag-appear ang isang value sa isang distribution, okay? Ang median and ang mode ay mga positional measure lamang, okay? They are only positional measure compared doon sa mean kasi ang mean ay hindi. Okay? And then mean always has a unique value. Same is true with the median. Yun nga lang, sa mode, wala siya laging unique value. Okay? So I do hope that we were able to summarize the measures of central tendency for grouped and group data clearly and completely. So this ends lesson 6. I hope that through this video, you were able to further understand the lesson and nasagot nito ang ilang mga katanungan nyo regarding our module and our topic. So again, I hope that through this video, you were able to think, wonder, and explore mathematics through measures of central tendency for group data. Thank you very much.